All right, what's good, people? Today I wanted to talk about building discipline. So, how to create discipline with yourself. But before we start the video, there are two announcements I want to make. The first one is that I have lights now. So, I'm actually really gassed. So, as soon as I figure out how to use the lights properly, you're going to be seeing me in HD, like every blemish and everything. Second announcement that I've got to make is that I'm going to be uploading consistently on this channel now. So, daily you will be getting videos from me. So, it is what it is. So let's get straight into the video. So what I wanted to talk about is building discipline. So over the weekend, I was doing a live with one of my friends who's a coach. So he helps other men become the best selves. And he asked me a question in regards to this. So it was a young guy who wanted help with becoming more disciplined. So he could be consistent with something for 3 days, then he would fall off, and then he would binge, go back into bad habits, and then he would have to get back on again. And he asked me, what do you say to somebody who's struggling to be disciplined? How can a person become disciplined? And what I realized and what's become apparent to me is that discipline, consistency, or change in behavior is rarely ever a question of capability. It's never a question of whether somebody can or can't do it. It's a question of motivation. It's a question of incentive to do it. Because the two types of goals a person can have, right? You can have the type of motivation that pulls you towards something. So you can have a vision or a dream, something that you really, really want, and you wake up every day and you're super excited to go get it. Okay, but then you also have the darker type of motivation, which is the push type of motivation. The push type of motivation where you're running away from something. You got danger looming, chasing you behind, and you're like, I gotta get away. And that's the more powerful form of motivation. Sometimes the pull motivation isn't enough. Sometimes that vision that you want isn't enough to get you to do what you want. Sometimes it works better when you're running away from something, because change happens instantaneously. People can change just like that. What takes a long time is for people to be prepared to change. Oftentimes you need circumstances or conditions that, or in the form of a natural disaster, to create urgency in the person. So think about this. It's kind of like when somebody neglects their health. They neglect it for years and years and years. They don't want to exercise. They want to keep eating fatty foods, put them down their body, and then the doctor tells them, brother, if you're going to continue to eat this way, you're finna die, right? You've got 2 weeks to live, unless you change something. When a person's got 2 weeks to live, you know what? Suddenly they're vegan. Suddenly they enjoy walking, going on those runs. Suddenly they'll do whatever it takes because they don't want to die, right? They've got something to be running away from. And you don't necessarily have to wait for life to put you in a position or put you in a situation where like you've got no choice. You can actually induce this within yourself. You can create the conditions that enable yourself to succeed. So I call these severe consequences for failure. Okay, so you can do this in creative ways. So I always go back to this example because it's one that I know, and those of you guys who follow my channel would know that last year when I was learning to discipline myself with sleeping and waking up at 5 a.m., I created conditions for myself to succeed, because I said to you guys, if I fail to wake up at 5 a.m., right, and you don't see a little Instagram story live from me at 5 a.m., then you know your boy hasn't woken up. And for every single person who watches that, I will transfer them 20 pounds. I didn't have the funds to transfer 20 pounds to all of you watching the story, so I had no choice but to wake up. Those severe consequences for failure, right? I was running away from it. So even on those days where I was tired and I've only had 3 hours sleep because I've been doing work, I had no choice but to get up. Right? You have no choice. It's kind of like when you're working. Back when we could go outside, when you used to go on your parties over the weekend. You party over the weekend, then Monday morning comes, you've come in late, you come back home at like 5 a.m., right? You've only had 3 hours sleep, but you get up and you go to work anyway. Why? Because you know if you don't go to work, you're going to be sacked. Your manager's going to be on your behind. If your manager's on your behind, you can't pay rent. You don't pay rent, you're evicted, you're homeless, right? So you've got incentive, right? Oftentimes the conditions put these kind of incentives on you, but you can actually take charge of that. But just by being creative, by creating severe consequences for failure through accountability. So if you want help with this, jump in my DM. I'm more than happy to assist you. I'll be happy to help you with that. Alternatively, get creative with it. Because sometimes that pool goal isn't enough. Sometimes you need the conditions that force you to commit to something. So that's the first video of the day, the first video of my run of uploading daily. So you guys take care of yourself. Have a fantastic week, and I'll speak again to you tomorrow. Peace.